Hi everyone and welcome back to Nick's Diecast. So for today's video I'm going to be showing you all and reviewing this 1/18 scale Shelby Series 1 roadster made by Maisto. This is an interesting model from Maisto. It actually used to be made by Bburago back in the day. In case you don't know, Maisto and Bburago were actually under the same parent company called the Maisto Group. And back in, I think, 2005 when Bburago went bankrupt, Maisto actually bought Bburago, and then a few of the Bburago models that were offered in the 1/18 scale line actually became Maisto models. The Shelby Series 1, along with the 1957 Corvette, the Chrysler Crossfire, and a couple others actually became Maisto models as part of the merger, I guess. Pretty interesting. There's actually a few features throughout this that just kind of scream Bburago, in my opinion. Especially like early 2000s Bburago, back when their quality was, kind of iffy, in my opinion. So I got this from Sam's Club in the summer of 2018. I think it was around like $14 or $15. And for that, I'd say it's a very good deal overall in terms of its overall detailing and everything like that. Let's go ahead and get into the actual details of the model here. We'll begin up at the front here with the lights. Maisto did a pretty good job with these lights here. The lenses are, I'd say, an okay thickness. They're a bit loose though, but the light bulb behind them does look pretty good in terms of its detail. Kind of looks like it's turned on if you look at it from a certain angle. Turn signals are actually separate plastic pieces. In most cases, Maisto usually just paints them on, but on this one they actually put them as separate pieces, which is really cool to see. Same with these fog lights here. They're actually separate pieces too, so that's kind of cool. This grille is solid, and there you can actually see the radiator vent behind it there. The vent itself's not like perforated, but you can still see it. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting, but it is there. There's that Shelby badge right there. Has that eye in the middle. I think it's cool. Kind of creepy to some people, I know, but it does look kind of cool. The racing stripes and the paint overall on this model looks great. The stripes are fully painted on. They go from the bottom of this bumper all the way down to the rear bumper. I'm sorry, all the way back to the end of the deck lid back here. And it's not like a metallic white or anything. It's kind of this like cream white. It also, this is actually discontinued too. I forgot to add that. But when it was out until 2018, it was offered in this color along with, I think, a red with white racing stripes. So very cool. The wheel detail, I'd say, is very good. These like rivets along the perimeter here, they're on the actual Series 1 wheels. There's actually a Shelby logo in the center there. The lug nuts look great too. They're actually three-dimensional looking. The disc brake does actually move with the wheel. This was a Bburago model at one point, so Bburago, they actually do have the moving disc brake, so that's a nice feature. There's no suspension, which is kind of a flaw, I would say. And the steering is actually pretty good. You can see it steers the wheel right there. The panel gaps are a bit atrocious, as you can see here. The hood doesn't close all the way. There's a big gap in the door there. Not that great, but for $15, it's you can't really complain too much. Elsewhere, you can probably find this for around like $26, give or take. Moving along to the back of the model, there's this kind of gas cap up here. That's actually a separate chrome piece. Looks good. Taillights look pretty good overall. There's no really like bags in them, but they do have the nice textured lenses back here. Exhaust pipes look okay. They're hollowed out, but they're a bit loose. They do say Borla on them, though, as you can see right there, which is a cool touch. There's a Nevada license plate, says Shelby, the Silver State. Pretty cool. There's no opening trunk or anything back here, so we'll just go right into the engine detailing. I'd say it's an okay engine for a Maisto / Bburago model. Pretty chrome heavy, but at least it's multiple pieces in there throughout. There's actually a Carroll Shelby signature on the top of the engine block there, which is cool to see. There's the radiator too. You can actually see all the way down to the bottom too. You can see near the wheel wells. You can see all the way down to the bottom, or down on the ground, I should say. Hood doesn't stay up anymore, unfortunately. I've had this model for only like 2 years now, so that's a bit of an annoyance. But if it had a prop rod, it would actually stay open fine, but it doesn't have that. In terms of the interior, this door opens tight and this door opens loose, so that's a bit strange. Speaking of the doors, the door panels, I'd say, are fairly well detailed. There's obviously some coloring in on the buttons that the real Series 1 has that it's absent on this model, but there is kind of like that nice leather pattern, as you can see on both colors, on the white and on the black. And the buttons are there, they just aren't really colored in or, amplified or anything like that, like they should be. This is where it gets kind of interesting. The detailing on the center stack and dashboard is strange. Bburago, a lot of times, because this was a Bburago model, as I keep mentioning, they would just put one giant sticker in terms of like detailing on the center consoles and the center stacks of their models. It looks very cartoonish. Doesn't look that great, to be honest. That was a pretty characteristic Bburago feature. They didn't do like separate buttons or anything like that. I guess for cost cutting, I don't know. I don't think it looks that great. But at least, and these circles should be vents. They're just kind of solid gray circles, which is a bit strange to look at. The steering wheel, they got the shape of that right at least, and it has the leather pattern on it. But everything else, they could have done better on. I do like the signature and the serial number on the glove box. They made the Series 1 from 1999 until 2005 in limited numbers. I think each one came with like a signature on the glove box and whatnot. These are really rare to see in real life. I don't think there's many around at all because a lot of them are just garage kept. Anyway, in terms of the detailing on the interior, we'll move along to the seats. The seats actually do look good in contrast to the lack of detailing on the center console. They're nice and thick. They have the seat belts in the center here. And the Carroll Shelby signature going down the center there. And the seat belts look good too. And they fold a bit as well, as you can see there. There's some better lighting for you for the seats. They actually have a leather pattern on them too and some wrinkles. I like that. It's a nice touch. The pedals are just chrome plastic pieces. At least they're separate though. They're separate. They're 3 separate pieces. They're kind of hard to see, especially from this angle, but they look pretty good overall. In general, this car looks really cool to like put on display, especially from certain angles. Just like American Roadster, it just looks great. Yeah, it's kind of sad that they discontinued it. I know that Yatming also made their own version of the Series 1 back in the early 2000s, so if you want that version, that one is detailed pretty similarly. It might be a little bit better with the interior detail, but I'd say for this one, it's a pretty good deal, especially if you can find it especially if you can find what's left of them at Sam's Club. If there are any left this summer, sometimes they'll put out old stock, but I think this was eliminated from their catalog in 2019, so it's probably gone by this point from Sam's Club stock. Undercarriage, not too much to see. It's pretty much chromed out right there. There is some engine detailing poking through, but it's really not that much to see. As you can see here, Shelby Series 1, 1999, 118. This is Bburago font. And it's hilarious. And all they did was they just pasted Maisto over where the Bburago logo would be. That's really all they did. I don't know what the thinking was with making this a Maisto model, not keeping it in the Bburago lineup. And I'm pretty sure the Bburago version and Maisto version were actually sold simultaneously for at least a few years in the mid-2000s, which is bizarre, I think. But they both have the same detail. They're identical in terms of overall detail. So whether you find the Bburago version or the Maisto version of this, I'd say it's a pretty good model to have. If you have supercars or sports cars, American cars, really anything, I think it looks good from all angles and everything like that, despite the few flaws that it has. All right, that's it for today's review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe today. And be sure to follow my Instagram page, Nick's Diecast page. Thanks for watching.